Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Gemini. If Gemini is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. What do you have for us? Ooh. And I got it up without dropping it. For anyone that's watching crossover videos for Aries, I dropped not at the beginning of the reading, thankfully, but I dropped the bowl towards the very end. Okay, let's see. So I just wanted to go ahead and thank you for choosing to watch my reading. I'm always so honored that I get to do these readings for you. And if you would be so kind as to hit the like button, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can watch more videos as they come out. And leave a comment. I have been getting a lot more comments lately, and I appreciate that so much. I love hearing from each and every one of you. I like the input. I like hearing how you're doing. It's just really, it's really neat to be able to connect with people in that way. Okay, now let's see what we have. And maybe I should move the light just a little bit. Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. All right. All right, Gemini. So I'm seeing it looks like birds. Looks like a bird heavy reading, which is not a bad thing. I like when the birds are around because it means there's a lot of like energetic movement. There's a lot of activity, a lot of, consciousness going on, a lot of dreaming, planning. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with this right here. Okay, so this is on the edge. It is not directly about you, Gemini, that I'm reading for. This is going to be somebody that's probably more involved in whatever situation we're going to be reading about. Now, it looks like a big bird. It reminds me almost of like a hawkman or something. So I'm going to read this as kind of humanoid, although it doesn't necessarily look super humanoid, but just the posture and it looks like it almost has arms instead of the wings. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is kind of more of it's not necessarily like the totem animal of somebody or just the attributes to someone that are related to kind of bird qualities. I think this is actually somebody who consciously activates and invokes those attributes for themselves, for their gain to navigate through life. Now this is a hawk, as I said. So this is a predator bird. Now that doesn't mean that they're a predator in the way that we think, of somebody who is trying to hustle you or harm you. But this is definitely a highly intelligent, highly skilled hunter-gatherer type, although I wouldn't say birds are technically hunter-gatherers, but in relation to a human who is using these kind of bird attributes to their favor, almost I envision wearing like the costume of a bird or the regalia of some kind of bird, the masking of a bird. Okay, so I I think this is somebody who really has a lot of precision, who has some kind of leadership role, maybe in your career path or, your workplace or some kind of project that you're working on. It could be creative. It could be, I don't know why this just came to mind, but like if you live in like a place that has like a HOA, the housing association, like somebody who has that kind of authority over your living circumstances, not to the point where I wouldn't say like a landlord, but somebody who definitely they can have some input about how you're living. Okay. So that's what came to mind. I don't know why, but now I see that there's kind of looks like this little dog. Okay. And looks like this person is kind of on their knees. It almost looks like they're going to pet it, but kind of in this like creepy, like their hands are like tentacles, right? And this dog looks like it's facing away from them. It almost looks like it's barking, if you can see that. And over here, I see a seated figure, and I think this has more to do with you. I think the dog looks like it's going towards you. So, as somebody in one of my other videos commented, they saw a dog and they said, okay, I relate that to friendship. And I really usually love that that friendship, the loyalty, man's best friend kind of symbolage. But when a dog is in this posture where it's kind of alert, it almost looks like it's barking. I kind of feel like that, like kind of having attack dogs put on you. Okay. And then with this formation where it looks like you're kind of, you Gemini are in the seated posture, and you kind of look like you're looking down a little bit, maybe more of in a submissive position. I feel like you've been feeling attacked on some level. Something's been going on where, and now that I'm looking at this kind of bird formation, bird person formation, it almost looks like they're like a puppeteer, okay, where they're pulling strings. So I wonder if maybe at your job, or like I said, some kind of situation where people have authority over how you keep your lawn, where do you keep your garbage can, your trees too close to the property line, whatever it is. Okay. Something like that. I feel like you feel like they've been attacking you. Okay. And this person, who really is hiding behind this persona that they have created for this specific role. So if they're in upper management or whatever, they, kind of have maybe a more shrewd, stoic, cold kind of persona that they've created. And it seems like they are using somebody to be the go-between, or somebody to enforce these rules. And I feel like it really has put you into a place of anxiety, of kind of just going along with, whatever they want you to comply with. You kind of have felt like you just kind of have to go along with it. Okay, because it feels like a useless battle, something that you're not going to win anyways. Now, I wonder if it really has something to do with something within housing, or if you work in some kind of housing, or homing people, or, I don't know, maybe cleaning, or, I can't really, maintenance. Something like that. So I'm seeing kind of this domicile shape, okay, with the little door, almost like a hut, but regardless of the shape of it, it feels like a home rather than just a business, although it could be the same. It could also be a business, right? But it's like this kind of dome shape. And I feel like this is very connected to the story going on right here. Okay. And I almost see like there's kind of this tear coming out. I feel like this has really, really been weighing heavily on you. And of course, especially if this is about like housing stuff for, anyways, for me in my life has always been like a point of just super anxiety. I don't, I don't know if I'll ever get over that, no matter how secure my life gets, or, the perception of security. I always just have this fear of everything falling apart, right? And so, I understand that, like, that kind of anxiety. It really, that's really one of my points in life that, like, I just unravel. So, that makes sense. I totally empathize with that. I want to look over here. This one looks very much like a bow and arrow, okay? And I think that really this is a big symbol because it's going from this middle area up into the spiritual realm, which is along the rim of the bowl here, okay? And for me, that really says that you have the tools within your mind. You have the understanding of whatever problem you're facing with this person, whatever thing's happening, you have all the pieces, you understand how things work, and you also have just the resilience and power within yourself to deal with this problem, to figure it out, to get it resolved, okay? And I'm not sure what that path looks like. I don't know. I'm going to look some more and see if there's anything. But I see this kind of bow and arrow as really, I think of it as like a divine tool to, and now let me just do a little disclaimer here. This is not related to weapon or any kind of physical violence. Let me just tell you that right now. I would never, ever, ever, ever promote any kind of, acting out in violence towards anybody for any reason at all. Okay. So please take that out of your mind if that's what you think I'm talking about. I don't think you do. But I just have to say that, okay? No, I think this is definitely more of a spiritual tool. This is kind of, I think of really just I think of an arrow being shot and going through kind of like a golden apple, okay? So the apple being this like symbol of high knowledge, okay? And I really think that this arrow is just a connection to aiming and, doing the work, thinking it out, being logical, rational, and those divine forces are going to align in a way to help you really do what you need to do to figure this thing out. And I think that really you have all of that understanding. You really do. I think that right now you're very much in your emotions about the situation because a lot of it is based in this, not only physical, but like on the rim, in this like the mind zone, and the emotional zone where you're just worrying. Okay. And let me see. So when I kind of turn this, I'm looking at this and I almost see it's switched to, this would be the figure that relates to you, okay? And then it has this pretty little flower right there. But then there's a bird, okay? And then I see this other figure, and I think it just feels like, I really think that where the breakdown here is in communication, okay? And I think that if this is a thing about work or housing or any of that, of course it needs to be dealt with professionally in a more formal, in more formal interactions. But I think that maybe there's been a breakdown in communication, and maybe in some way you haven't stated things clearly, or you haven't read things clearly. Something's going on that can be, I feel that can be figured out. Okay. And this is through really looking through, whatever the expectations are, or, I'm not getting the indication it's necessarily a financial thing, but if it were a financial thing, maybe setting up some kind of payment, or, resorting your things so that you can figure out how to get this squared away with this entity, okay? But I think that we go from having this kind of guard dog, attack dog, to having the bird. And I think that with, once you do that kind of planning, thinking about all of the pieces, really trying to go through it logically, figuring out a plan, and then communicating the pieces that you need to, I think that the saying can get resolved. Okay? All right. And and I just want to say this one, I don't always love talking about like the anxieties of finances and stuff, because of all the things in life. I don't know what it is. I think because when I was younger, especially when I was younger, in my early adulthood, I just had, I didn't have a lot of money, and I struggled a lot. And so I've just carried that anxiety with me deeply. And, I don't come from like a lifestyle where anybody really had a ton of money around me. So, you would think that, and I want to bring this up, the card, but you would think that I would be used to it. And to some level I am. I'm really not, I'm like, I have anxieties about finances, even if things are going well, relatively. But, I always say, like, I'm not afraid of being super poor, because of course I am to some degree. It's hard to live with very little stuff or means, and I get that. I've lived on ramen. I've lived, paycheck to paycheck and less, less than that even. So I get it. And I don't mean to like say that being whatever. I'm not trying to be crude about it or non-empathetic, because I have totally lived, not just for like, oh, I'm in college, and I'm like, I don't have I lived like that for a lot longer than that. A lot longer than I needed to, really. Okay, so let me see. So we have the Hanged Man. This card scares people because it's really, in popular culture, you get the Hanged Man and they're like, oh my goodness, this one or death, right? The Hanged Man, to me, is one of my favorite cards, because it means that there has either been some self-sacrifice, okay? You know that you need to do something. You have to sacrifice something to change things. Sometimes it means forced sacrifice, okay? We lose something. Our car gets repoed, or, you don't have the money to be eating out as much, or, you have to figure out a way to pay the light bill. It's like forced things. And sometimes that happens, and that's very hard. But the good part of this card, okay, and there is a good part, Don't let me worry you too much. The good part is this means you're on the road to the beginning of a new cycle. Okay. And that, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. There's an element of suffering in this card. But life, there's a lot of suffering that goes on. And this card to me tells me you're making something of these sacrifices, of these sufferings. There's consciousness involved. You are making a plan. You are going to overcome them and you are going to come out on top of them, because it's not just needless, unrecognized suffering or this pity party or this, or something that's so out of your control that you just can't do anything about it, but also can't make any mean or extrapolate any kind of meaning from it. You are finding the meaning in what's going on. You're making the plans to change your lot, and you're going to do the best with what you have. And you're going to, get more. You're going to have more things coming along. Okay. So that's what I see when I see this. This was the card I pulled for the overall kind of vibe of this reading here. Okay. Now, this one, which was the house, I want to show you. It looks like a little sheep. So I see in the very near future for you that there's going to be an element of peace, rest, serenity coming. Okay. There are greener pastures out there, and you're on your way to them. Okay. I think that very soon things are going to get sorted. Very soon, you're not going to be in this place of worry and suffering as much. Okay. I get the feeling though you are a warrior, just by nature to some degree. So, and then I want to point out this J. Okay, so here's the J. Now, this one has to do more with you directly. So maybe you are a J person, or you carry somebody very closely to you. Maybe a child, maybe a parent. Somebody, not necessarily like a romantic relationship, but this is somebody who is like ingrained into your being. Okay. And you carry them with you. And there's something important coming up with them. Okay. Something to focus, to keep in your focus going forward. And then I just want to kind of look at this a little bit more. And actually, now that I'm seeing this upside down, it kind of does, it looks like a bird. Okay. So I think that you're going to be having some kind of message from them soon. If they are somebody who has already passed on to the other, they're deceased, basically. They're in the other realms. You're going to see some kind of sign from them. They have some kind of message for you, some kind of information for you that's going to be coming through. Okay. And you're going to find that in some kind of your, whatever it is. If you see, and because this is a bird, maybe you'll see a bird. Okay. That reminds you of them. Maybe, you'll see a number, their favorite number, or an abundance of their favorite color, or, I don't know, somebody will bring them up out of nowhere. Now, if this is not a person who has passed, they're going to get a hold of you soon, I think. Okay. And I don't know about what. I'm going to look and see in this little kind of area if there's some more information about that. But I think that they will be getting a hold of you some way, somehow here. Okay. So I'm really trying to look at what this one is. This little area right here. Okay. And this one actually looks like an E. So I don't think this is the same person. I think this is something else. This is another, maybe another person not involved in the situation with what's going on with your anxiety and stuff. But this one almost feels like, because I see this, okay, so I see this little formation here that kind of looks like a person holding a flag. Okay, the head, the body, and then they have this kind of little flag. And to me, I wonder if it's kind of a reconciliation with somebody. I feel like, and then I see this E, the E right here, and then I see this kind of like person right here holding their hand out to touch. Okay, so I feel like very soon you're in the middle of some kind of, I don't know, maybe this is somebody from the past, but I feel like somebody's going to be coming back into your life and there's going to be some old stuff resolved. I feel like it really, you're going through a period where, do you know, like when there's just points in life where all of a sudden, like somebody from like grade school reaches out to you, and then all of a sudden you're seeing like all these signs that remind you of like, maybe your grandma passed away or something, and you're like, you smell smells that remind you of her kitchen, and like her favorite poem, like somehow like is being, read in a movie or something, and you're like, wow, there's like all these indicators of them. And then like, I don't know, some old friend that you quarreled with kind of over, years ago reaches out and you can kind of talk through that stuff. I feel like you're really going through some kind of period like this. Okay, so I feel like another person besides the one that I was talking about with the J name or the J descriptive word, that the bird symbol was attached to. This is a different person. I think that you had some kind of issue with them. Maybe it wasn't even major. Maybe you just kind of like, kind of fell out of your friendship or whatever kind of connection you had. And there was no big thing that went on. But I feel like there's going to be a reconnection here. And this is somebody with an E name, or they work in some field that starts with an E, or they have something about them that is very E forward. Okay. Now, I just want to look at this one right here. And this one reminds me of a little dragon, like a little baby dragon. Okay. And I think for me, really looking at this, it makes me think that the universe is really telling you, Gemini, oh, Gemini, that you need to really get a handle of your feelings in some of these situations that are coming up, okay? I think that usually you try to stay pretty level-headed, but, sometimes that dragon comes up in you and you really go scorched earth on things. You can really, pick some words that can really stick it to somebody. Okay. And so I think that right now is a good time to pump the brakes, take it slowly, think about what you're going to say, try not to be very reactionary. And I think that things are really going to come together for you. I really, really do believe that. I think the key here is just really emotional regulation, thinking about the things that you're going to say, really planning, trying to take out some of that element of, just saying what comes to mind in the moment, trying to stick to that and just really fortifying yourself for this little patch of interactions that you have coming along for you. Okay. And I think if you do those things, you're going to be it's going to be a good thing. Okay. And I see this beautiful bird here. It reminds me of the seagull. It really makes me think that, you're going to go to your nature. You're a very airy, mindful, and emotional person, Gemini. So, if you just really do some of that work to think about how you're going to interact with people, what's important for you, what you are willing to do, what you're not willing to do, and making a plan for that. I think it'll be, I picture a seagull just kind of riding the air, riding the currents of air and just sailing along. Okay. And I think that you definitely will be in that place. And let's go ahead and look at the saucer, which is getting dry. It's been sitting here waiting for us, so I won't tilt it too much. And I want to see. Okay. So I think that definitely the first news from the J person will be in the next 3 weeks. Okay. And so as we talked about, if that is, maybe you are getting signs and symbols from a message from beyond, or you will be getting an actual message. If it's text, a phone call, a letter. Do people still write letters in the mail? They must, because I wrote quite a few for Christmas to go along in my cards. So hopefully people are still writing letters. And then on the other note, this kind of reconciliation, I think that that's going to be in the next 4 weeks or 4 months. I see the 4 here. Okay. And so that, I think, is somebody who is alive and well, and somebody from the past that is going to be reaching out to you. Okay. And I think that it'll be, like I said, I don't know or really feel that this is like there was some huge falling out, but I think, in retrospect, a lot of times when things seemed like a big deal 20 years ago, today they really don't in comparison. And it's easy to kind of mend those old hurts with people. Okay. And then with the other issue, I'm not really seeing much of when this is going to happen, but I think it's something that's probably presently in your mind. I feel like there's like a palpable sense of anxiety with it, but I think more than the saucer, looking at the bowl, that there was a sense of resolution coming along soon. Okay. And I think that all of that has to do a lot with planning, using the facts and things that you already know, and being diplomatic and professional, and, going through the channels that you need to get this thing sorted. Okay. And with that one, maybe some element of, rethinking whatever is involved. If it's like finances or whatever, maybe looking over your, spending or whatever it is, figuring out how you're going to make things work for now until you have more resources coming in. And, we all go through that. Let me tell you, I'm pretty good at balancing things around, juggling things around. So I understand. And what else? I love this. And I just want to say this. There's a little like meme that I like. I post it every once in a while when I see it come up. And it says, "We've been doing so much with so little for so long. We can do absolutely anything with nothing now." And to me, it really means that, like, you just, sometimes when you are limited on like any kind of resources, you become just an expert at surviving, at living. And, of course that's hard. I'm not, again, minimalizing, anybody's struggle with that. I understand, and even in my times of poverty, which I have lived in, below the poverty line for sure. And, I was still privileged because, I still made it through. Thank God I survived, and I'm thankful for that every day. But, something about, I don't know, something about having been in those places in my life at different points. Um, I just have such an immense love and respect and connect with people who have also struggled in that way. Um, it's kind of a club that you wish that nobody else was in. But when you are in it, you just see people. I see people that are just the strongest people, the most brilliant people, the hardest workers, and we struggle. We struggle. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but, that's the way the world is, unfortunately, and, so anyhow, I don't know. I'm getting to these very like romantic places with that, very sentimental, and just very, very much love, lots of love for my communities that I feel part of. And you know what? I feel like that's one of the big communities that I align myself with, because, you know, I know better than anybody. Money comes and goes. You never know. You never know how long you're going to have it, right? So, anyhow, let me get through this. I'm holding on to you for a long time here. Okay, so I just want to ask you if you can go ahead and like the video. That would be so, I would be so thankful. It helps me get into the algorithm. And if you would subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome, awesome, awesome too. And leave a comment. Let me know how you think I'm doing. Let me know if you have any input. Let me know what kinds of signs and symbols you're seeing in the cup, and let me know how you're doing. I love hearing how you all are doing. That's like my favorite part of doing this is just I'm starting to really connect with people and hear your stories and hear your joys and hear some of the sadness and, the in-betweens. And the most thing, that I'm seeing out of all of those messages, and it's in every single one of them, is a lot of strength, okay? There's just a lot of resilience, a lot of strength. So I really like those connections, and I appreciate any and all of you that share your stories. Okay, so again, I'm so honored to be able to bring these messages. If you want to connect on Facebook, I have a page. It's Ula Tea Leaf Readings. If you're interested in connecting on Instagram, it's Ula of the Tea. If you'd like a private reading, they're in the description on the video. There are the directions and all the information about how to book one of those. And yeah, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Gemini, thank you. And we'll see you back here soon, hopefully, watching another video. Thanks, 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 thanks.